Hello, my dear students. How are you all? I am Vaishnavi, your teaching buddy, and I welcome you all to study Class 5 Science with me by Science Horizon Economic Series, a unit of Amit Publishing House. So, today we are going to study Unit 1, Planet Kingdom, and that is Reproduction in Plants, Chapter number 1. Correct? So, let's move on and see what all we have to study. So, basically, the chapter contents are seeds, that is the main agent of reproduction, then germination of seeds, then we'll study about dispersal of seeds, and then vegetative propagation. So, as we all know that how important plants are there in our human life for the survival of all of our life. All living things need to reproduce to survive and produce their own kind, the species of their own kind. The reproduction of plants is important for the world because if there is no plant, if there is no vegetation, there will be no life, there will be no living organisms on earth. So in the absence of reproduction, some plants may become extinct. So scientists are working hard to make sure that plants species should become more and more there existing in our Mother Earth. Reproduction in plants happens in two ways. First is natural reproduction and artificial reproduction that is done with the help of manpower. Most of the plants reproduce naturally from seeds. So basically seed is the reproductive organ of the plant and they reproduce through the seeds. But some plants also use other plants for their reproduction system. And let us know about this in detail and how this is done. Seeds, as we all know, it is the main agent of reproduction. The process of reproduction in flowering plant starts with the formation of fruits. तो किस तरह से reproduction start होता है या हमें कैसे पता चलता है? This process starts when the fruit of the plant starts to flower. Flowers have pollen. In our previous classes, we have studied it in brief as a basic general term that flowers contain pollen. Now, when a bee, that is a honey bee, they sit on a flower, the pollen sticks to their body. Correct? Now, when the bee goes to another flower of the same kind, of the same type, that pollen enters the stigma of that flower. Are you understanding here? So, bee becomes the carrier of the pollen when it sits on the other plant. So, it becomes the agent to transfer the pollen to the stigma. Fertilization then takes place and a fruit is formed. Now, the fleshy pulp of the fruit protect the seeds that grow inside. हम सब fruits खाते हैं. There is single seed of many seeds inside a fruit, and the seed is covered with what? A fluffy, good amount of pulp. है ना? So that pulp protects the seeds inside the fruit. Now the structure of a seed is, to understand how a tiny seed converts into a big plant, we should first understand the structure of the seed. And for this, let's perform an activity. But before that, let me again show you this diagrammatic representation. So here, seed, it became a plant. Then it produced flower. Then flower has stamen. Then stamen enters anther. They have pollen grains containing sperm nuclei of the main organic system. Then pollination occurred. Then pollens formed. So and out of the pollen, that is they are coming out of flower. Then again the seed is formed. So this is the entire cycle of the process of reproduction that takes place in plant. Now coming to the structure of seed. First of all, we'll study about the germination of seed. Germination is the process by which a seed produces a seedling, that is many babies of seed you can say, or baby plant. A seed needs the right amount of air, water and the exact temperature for the germination. So, एक germination of seed के लिए इन कुछ factors का होना जरूरी है, like right amount of water, air and a temperature. So, requirement of germination of seeds are, first is air and water, where the availability of right amount of water and air are important for the germination of seeds. So, for this, we'll perform an activity, we'll see it later. Now the temperature that is required, they need optimum temperature. That is not too much high, not too low. They require an accurate, proper temperature to germinate. The temperature should be neither very high nor very less, and it should be in the range of 25 degrees centigrade to 35 degrees centigrade. Please note it down कि exact temperature scale क्या होना चाहिए, 25 degrees centigrade to 35 degrees centigrade. And for this, let's do an activity. And another thing is sunlight and soil. That is the third factor which is important for the germination of seed. Sunlight and soil that are not essential that for germination. A seed can germinate without soil and sunlight too. However, once seeds are germinated, they require the right type of soil and then sufficient sunlight. So after the germination process have started, after that process, they require a proper soil structure and sufficient amount of sunlight for their germination and growth. Now the point comes, dispersal of seeds. So you know that farmers sow seeds. Farmer का काम क्या है? वो seeds पूरे एक बड़े से land में, farm में, they sow seeds. And gardeners also do the same thing. So, but there are many plants that grow on their own. हमने कुछ plants ऐसे भी देखे हैं जिनको we don't even sow seeds, but along the roadside or around any garden area or any forest area, you might have noticed that despite of being sowing, they grow on their own. So, how does it happen? And who sows the seed? This question might come into your mind. So, it happens naturally. Now, most plants produce many seeds. If all seeds simply fall and grow close to the parent plant, there would not be enough space for the new plant to grow. So seeds are spread out over a large area where there is sufficient and appropriate space for the plant to grow. अगर सारे plants एकदम ऐसे एक साथ जुड़ के grow करने लगेंगे, so there will be no space left over, right? So they require a large area for their growth and a right condition for their growth. Plants cannot move from one place to another, that we all know. So nature has some agents to scatter their seeds. That's why nature has bestowed some agents like, animals, birds, monkeys, and air, wind, for which the dispersal of seed can be happen. The process of scattering seeds away from the parent plant is called dispersal. तो dispersal का मतलब क्या होता है? Parent plant से seeds का फैलना इधर उधर. That is dispersal, to get spread away. Now let us learn about the agents that help in this process. Dispersal, first of all, can be done by wind. Some seeds are very light. They get carried away to far places with the help of wind. So when there is windy, air is there around in that atmosphere, or if there is storm, so the seeds of the dandelion, they have tiny hairs which act as wings. Now they help the seeds to float in the air. Cotton seeds have long fibers that trap air and become light. Then sycamore seeds have two wings that help them to keep moving in the air. So these are few examples which you can note down. Like dandelion, they have tiny hairs. Then they float in the air. Cotton have long fibers that trap air and become light. Sycamore, seeds have two wings and help them to keep moving in the air. So, एक कुछ example है. If question is asked, you can answer according to them. Dispersal by water. This was dispersal by wind, by water. Water acts as an agent of dispersal of plants that grow in the coastal areas or areas around the water. So, like example is coconut tree. They grow in coastal areas. Coastal areas मतलब यहाँ पे sea shore है या ocean areas हैं. So sometimes a ripe coconut falls into the sea and is carried far away. Correct. Now that thick coat of coconut fiber holds air, and the coconut can float for thousands of miles into the sea. So coconut directly, if it falls to the sea water, so it keeps on floating. So that thick part of this coconut body, they keep on moving 1,000 miles into the sea. Now there is dispersal by animals. Animals and human beings also help in seeds dispersal. They like to eat some fruits, then they take away the fruits to different places, then they eat them and throw away the seeds. Correct? So this is how animals and human beings they do. Seeds of mango, cherry, apples get dispersed in this way. Now some seeds present in fleshy fruits like berries are passed out in their droppings unharmed. Squirrels collect nuts like acorns and bury them for later use. So squirrels, you might have seen पेड़ पे बैठ के squirrels keep on gnawing on their nuts. So they bury them for their later use, for their future use. But they often forget where they have buried them. So for this, the seeds become into new trees. The fruits of some plants like xanthium and sunbur, they have hooks or spikes on them. Please note it down. Which plant or which seeds have hooks on them or spikes on them? They are xanthium and sunbur. So for these fruits stick to the furry coats of wandering animals like cattle, sheep, or cows, and claws of birds or clothes of men. So these foods are then carried away over long distances. तो ये जो xanthium या sandbur के जो seeds होते हैं, they have spines and thorns. So you know when cattle are grazing over grasses or plants, they stick to their body or on their claws of birds or also to the claws of human beings. So this is how they are again carried away और ये एक agent की तरह काम करने लगता है. Now later new plants are grown with the help of these seeds of the fruit. Now another factor is dispersal by explosion. Some plants like the pea, geranium, balsam and mustards, they have seeds in their pods. हमने मटर देखा है ना, pea, they are in their pods. Similarly, these other fruits, they also have seeds in their pods. When the pods dry up, they burst open suddenly. तो जब ये pod dry हो जाते हैं, एकदम सूख जाते हैं, they automatically on their own they burst up if they are not opened by the human. So the force of this explosion scatters the seed in all directions. जैसे वो burst करता है, तो seeds इधर-उधर फैल जाते हैं. These factors, that is wind, water, animal, humans, and explosion, are known as agents of dispersion. So the question asks, what are the agents or who are the agents of dispersal of seeds? They are wind, water, animal, human beings, and explosions. Correct? So these are germanium. See, they are in the pod. So once they burst up, the seeds are scattered. They are balsam. Now vegetative propagation, वो क्या होता है? Some plants do not grow flowers. Such plants do not reproduce from seeds. तो कुछ जो वो है plants होते हैं, वो they don't grow flowers, and such kind of plants they do not reproduce with the help of seeds. They reproduce from other plants like their roots, stems, and leaves with the help of other parts. How? So reproduction of plants from parts other than seed is called vegetative propagation. So if it is not happening through flowers or seed, and if it is happening, the reproduction is happening through other parts of the plant like stem, roots, and leaves, so that process is called vegetative reproduction. Vegetative propagation can either be natural or artificial. The natural propagation में क्या है? Some plants naturally reproduce through parts of parts other than seeds. There is an advantage of natural vegetative propagation. What is that? Through this process, new plants grow rapidly, bypassing the maturing of the seedling phase. तो इसमें जो वो seedling वाला phase है, where the seed takes time to germinate and then seedlings occurs and then flower, वो process skip हो जाता है और जो reproduction process है with the help of other parts, it becomes faster. So ये एक advantage है if it is happening through vegetative propagation. So first point is from underground stems. How does it happen? The potato, ginger, etc. are underground stems. जो हम potato खाते हैं, ginger, अदरक खाते हैं, they are basically underground stems that we eat. They have buds and इनको कहते हैं eyes. Though buds means जो small protrusions होते हैं over ginger and potato, they are called buds and इसको हम technical term में eyes कहते हैं. The eyes produce shoots that grow into new plant. So this kind of, they don't have picture, you might have seen, अगर आप potato को unused ऐसे ही बहुत दिन तक रख देंगे, they'll form buds over their skin, that is called eyes, and they'll produce shoot, and then it will grow into a new plant. A second is from bulb. A bulb is an underground stem. Again, a bulb is an underground stem with fleshy leaves. Onions, daffodils and tulips, they are examples of bulbs. So the onion which we eat, they are example of bulbs that we eat. These bulbs reproduce from the tiny bulblets that form on the parent bulb. तो ये again एक दूसरा onion या onion का plant कैसे form हो सकता है? When onion they turn into forming tiny bulblets, correct? So then these bulblets changes into a parent bulb again. So we have underground stems like potato, ginger. They have bulbs on their body called eye. Then from bulbs, examples are onion, tulips, daffodils, and they have these bulbs over their body which turns into a parent bulb. Now from runners, the stems of plants like the strawberry and peppermint, they grow horizontally along the ground. The strawberry, peppermint इस तरह से horizontally along the ground we keep on growing. Such stems are called runners. Runners are very weak. जो इस टाइप के stems होते हैं वो बहुत weak होते हैं, delicate होते हैं. Tiny roots form on the runners where they touch the ground. Soon their connection with the parent plant breaks and a new plant grows. So since they जो runner के roots होते हैं वो stems होते हैं, they are very weak. Runners are very weak. So उसकी वजह से tiny roots, छोटे छोटे roots form हो जाते हैं which touch the ground. Okay, so when they touch the ground, the connection again appears with the parent plant, and that breaks into a new plant that grows. Now from leaves, leaves से क्या होता है? Some plants grow new plants from the edges of their leaves. So leaves के edge पे भी ना छोटे छोटे leaves form हो जाते हैं. So they act as a baby plant and then they become a mature plant. The sprout leaf plant, that is birophyllum, and the elephant ear plant. So there is another plant called elephant ear plant and birophyllum. They begonia, they grow buds on their leaves. उनके leaves के edges पे ही buds बनने लगते हैं. These buds grow into new plants when the leaves bearing them fall to the ground. तो जब जो baby leaves हैं which is forming on the main leaf, when they fall on the ground, they become a new plant. The new plant have their own leaves and roots, correct? So we have from runners, from leaves, then previously we studied from bulbs and from underground stem. Artificial vegetative propagation. Now up till now अभी तक हमने natural vegetative propagation पढ़ा. Now coming to artificial vegetative propagation. Gardeners, they use many methods for artificial vegetative propagation to grow quality plants into a new kind of plant. So in order to get a good quality plant, so what do these gardeners do? They mix some good quality and species of plants and make it happen to reproduce a new form of plant. So let us study the common methods of artificial propagation, that is through the help of cutting. It is used for growing roses, sugarcane, grapes, cotton, etc. So a cutting is a piece of mature stem having a bud that has been cut off a parent plant. So एक mature parent plant से अगर आप एक mature piece of stem cut कर लेते हैं and then the cutting is planted in such a way that the bud remains above the ground. So वो जो stem which is containing a bud, it should be kept above the ground. Soon it grows into a new plant. So this is how the gardeners apply this method. They cut a piece of stem having buds over it from the mature part of a plant and then they bury it on the ground so that this stem is above the ground. So this stem becomes a new plant in future. Now second method is grafting and budding. In these, a stem piece that is in grafting or a single bud that is in budding is joined onto the stem of a plant that has root. मतलब एक stem piece that is which we get through grafting process and a single bud that is we are getting through budding is joined onto the stem of a plant, एक दूसरे प्लांट में जो ऑलरेडी रूटेड है उसके साथ इसको ज्वाइन कर दिया गया, and it is commonly used to produce fruit trees. So in order to get as many amount of fruits, this process is done. So here grafting कैसे करते हैं? See, this stem is having bud and it is grafted, and इसके बीच में say with a slit cutting over it, it's been fixed. जब ये fix करके tie up कर दिया, so that process of reproduction it takes place inside it and a new plant is formed. So this is basically done in order to get good quality and good amount of fruits. Correct? Now third is simple layer. It is used for shrubs where cutting or grafting are not possible. So simple layers उस जगह पे करते हैं जहाँ पे cutting या grafting possible नहीं है. In this method, first a lower stem is selected. जैसे कि this is a lower stem, it is selected, and then using a sharp object, a groove is made it by removing the bark. Then this portion of the stem is buried in a moist soil. So a lower stem is first selected, and then it is removed from the bark, and this portion of the stem is buried in a moist, एक wet area of soil में bury किया जाता है. With time and roots grow in the grooved area. तो ऐसे एरिया में जहाँ पे उसको bury किया, the roots start to grow up, and now the rooted stem is separated from the parent plant. So this is simple layer method that is a part of artificial vegetative propagation. Now let's recall some of the points which we have studied. First is the reproduction of plant is very essential as no life can exist without plants. Then the reproduction of plants starts with fertilization and formation of fruit. All flowering plants reproduce naturally from seeds. A seed has a baby plant in it with a root and a shoot. The right amount of air, water and warmth is needed for its germination. Seeds can germinate without soil and sunlight as well. The dispersal of seed that takes place to provide them with enough space and other resources to grow. Wind, water, animal, human beings are common agents for the dispersal of seed. Correct? Now let's try to answer some questions. First is answer the following question. Explain the stages of germination of seeds. So I have explained you the germination process. So first there is a seed, then it becomes into a seedling under proper warmth of temperature, proper sunlight and adequate amount of water. So that is the stages of the germination of seed. Why does the dispersal of seed takes place? So dispersal of seed takes place through various processes like naturally through wind, air, water, or with the help of animals and human beings. Or there are spikes in some of xanthium and sandbird type of plants which get stuck to the animal products or cloths of human beings and they carry it. So this is how dispersal of seed takes place in various methods. How do birds help in the dispersal of seeds? So birds, when they sit on the trees, they prick on some fruits like guava or some other kind of fruits, and they spread the seeds all over, or they carry the seeds along with them and throw it somewhere. So this is how they carry the seeds along with them. Or sometimes these seeds containing spikes and thorns, they get stuck with their claws, and when they fly or when they sit or perch on some other branch, then this kind of dispersal takes place. Why do gardeners use the method of artificial vegetative propagation? So as to get good quality of plants and also to get good quantity of fruits and plants. Explain the simple layer method of artificial vegetative propagation. So I just explained you the simple layer method. It was just the last topic of the chapter. Please go through it and you will be able to answer it. So my dear students, that was all about this chapter today. So it was quite interesting to know about the various parts and methods of plant and their ways of reproduction. So stay excited for the class of next video and please do learn the chapter and try to answer all the questions. Till then, stay happy and healthy. Thank you so much.